Nobody knows where he sleeps. It changes. Every night. A different place, a different room, a different route. He used to ride his motorbike through the streets of Ouagadougou at midnight to visit his relatives. He does not do that anymore, because they tried to kill him 5 times. 5 times. Armored vehicles were deployed. Night traffic was banned. His security is run by his own brother, Inusa Traore. The people around him have been reduced to a handful. Only the closest few remain. Residence? Official residence? None. Presidential palace? He never moved in. This man lives in a military barracks, and his net worth, by his own declaration, is $128,566. His salary, a soldier's salary, about $500 a month. He rejected the presidential salary, the $76,000. $128,566. Now let us look together at where other African leaders live and how rich they are. If this is your first time watching this channel, stop. This channel tells the truths about Africa that Western media does not show. It shows the gap between leaders with numbers. CNN does not show this contrast. BBC does not give you the addresses of these palaces. This channel does. Subscribe, like, and watch to the very end, because in the last 5 minutes, I will show you what Traore accomplished this week. From this barracks, with this $500 salary. Gabon, the Bongo family. Omar Bongo, from 1967 to 2009, 42 years in power. When he died, his son Ali Bongo took over, until a coup removed him in 2023. 56 years. One family, one country, one system. They call it the Bongo system. And what did this system produce? 39 properties. In France, in the most luxurious neighborhoods of Paris, the 16th arrondissement, the district of embassies and ministries. A private mansion of 5,400 square meters. Villas in Nice, on the Mediterranean coast, the Côte d'Azur. 70 bank accounts, at least 183 luxury cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, limousines. The value? A 2022 French court estimate, 85 million euros, approximately $92 million. Just the properties in France. And in Washington, D.C., Wesley Heights, one of Washington's most exclusive neighborhoods. Massachusetts Avenue, Embassy Row. Bondo's sister bought a home there, $642,000 cash, in 2001. Sold it in 2023 for $1.1 million, cash. The Pandora Papers in 2021 revealed that Ali Bongo had shell companies in the British Virgin Islands, offshore accounts, hidden investments. The U.S. Senate in 1999 found $130 million in Omar Bongo's personal accounts at Citibank. The French energy company ELF, now part of Total Energies, was paying Bongo 50 million euros per year in commissions to exploit Gabon's oil. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists documented the entire empire. 39 properties, 17 registered directly in his name, most in Paris's upscale 16th district. Properties were seized by French courts in 2016. Luxury mansions in Nice and Paris. 9 of Ali Bongo's siblings were indicted by French investigators. And the people of Gabon? 1/3 of the population lives below the poverty line. 39 properties in Paris, 1/3 of the people below the poverty line. And Traore? $128,566 in a barracks, on a soldier's salary. Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Nguema and Bosigo. In power since 1979. 47 years, the world's longest-serving head of state. Estimated net worth, $600 million. Annual official salary, $152,680. But the real story is his son, Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mangwe, Teodorin, the vice president. Estimated net worth, $220 million. In Malibu, California, a $35 million mansion on Pacific Coast Highway, ocean views, pool, cinema room, 6 bedrooms. In Paris, near the Champs-Élysées, a mansion valued at 100 million euros, 101 rooms, sauna, cinema, disco, gold-plated faucets. He bought Michael Jackson's Thriller jeweled glove for $275,000. Bugatti Veyron, Rolls-Royce, Maserati, Bentley, Lamborghini, Ferrari, at least 30 supercars in his collection. The U.S. Department of Justice in 2011 filed a case to seize $70 million of Teodorin's assets in the U.S. The Malibu Mansion, luxury cars, Michael Jackson memorabilia. And the people of Equatorial Guinea? 60% of the population lacks basic services, no hospitals, no schools, no clean water. The president is worth $600 million. His son is worth $220 million. 60% of the people lack basic services. And Traore? $128,566. On a soldier's salary. He rejected the presidential salary. Cameroon, Paul Biya, in power since 1982, 44 years, 91 years old. Annual official salary, $620,976. That is $200,000 more than the President of the United States. Estimated net worth, between $200 and $500 million. He stays at the Intercontinental Hotel in Geneva, Switzerland, for extended periods. Weeks, months, paid for by the taxes of the Cameroonian people. Under the pretext of special treatment. Properties in Paris, properties in Geneva. Biya spends the majority of the year outside Cameroon. Sometimes he visits his own country for just a few days per month. Not in Yaoundé, the capital. Cameroon's ranking on Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, 144th out of 180 countries. And the people? 20% of young people are unemployed, infrastructure crumbling, roads broken, hospitals inadequate. 44 years in power, $620,976 annual salary. His people in poverty. And Traore? 3.5 years in power, on a soldier's salary, building 55 hospitals. Congo-Brazzaville, Denis Sassou Nguesso, in power since 1979, intermittently for over 40 years total. Annual official salary, $108,400. But his properties in France? Under investigation. The same case as Bongo and Obiang. The ill-gotten gains investigation. Luxury properties in Paris, villas in Nice, luxury cars. Where Congo's oil revenues go remains unclear. The Gini coefficient, 0.51, one of the highest inequality rates in the world. And Traore? He made his asset declaration public, $128,566. Uganda. Yoweri Museveni, in power since 1986, 40 years. Annual official salary, $183,216. Net worth estimates. Some sources say $13 billion. Unverified, but the family fortune is known to be enormous. His son Muhuzi Kainerugaba flaunts his luxury lifestyle on social media. Expensive watches, luxury cars, international trips. He once threatened to invade Kenya on Twitter and faced no consequences because he is the president's son. Museveni presented himself as a revolutionary for 40 years. But after 40 years of revolution, 20% of Uganda's youth are unemployed. The northern regions still struggle with poverty. Health infrastructure is inadequate. And the Constitution. How many times did he change it? He removed the age limit so he could run again. He removed the term limit so he could stay forever. He crushed the opposition. He had Bobi Wine, the most popular opposition leader, arrested repeatedly. 40 years. Promises of revolution. Result? His son threatens countries on Twitter while the father will not leave his seat. And Traore? 3.5 years. Instead of changing the constitution, he changed the economy. 7.2% growth. Zimbabwe. Emerson Mnangagwa. Annual official salary. $146,590. Net worth? Disputed. But mining interests, farms, and business partnerships are known. Zimbabwe, 40% inflation. Economic crisis. People struggling to survive. And the leader is part of a structure with interests in the mining sector. Robert Mugabe, the previous leader before Mnangagwa, before his death, gave himself a 300% salary increase, from $4,000 a month to $8,000, with allowances $12,000 a month. In Zimbabwe at one point, they were printing $100 trillion banknotes. People carry bags of money to buy bread, and the leader was giving himself a 300% raise. And Traore? He reversed the salary increase for government officials that was approved under the previous administration. Instead of raising his own salary, he lowered it. South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Annual official salary, $223,500. He got a raise in July 2023, up from $177,000. Net worth, $450 million. Before politics, he built an empire in mining, agriculture, and telecommunications. Shanduka Group, a billion-dollar holding. And something must be said in his favor. He has been donating half his salary to charity since 2018. But South Africa, load shedding, years of power outages, 32% unemployment, among the highest in the world, infrastructure collapse, water crisis, crime at horrific levels. A $450 million president cannot solve power outages. Why? Because the system he is part of, is rotting. And Traore? 80% of this country lives in darkness, but he signed a nuclear power plant deal with Rosatom, Target 2030. Instead of managing decline, he is building. Morocco, King Mohammed VI, estimated net worth $6 billion, Africa's richest head of state. Annual salary, $488,604. The palace's daily operating budget, $960,000. Daily. In a single day, 7.5 times Traore's entire net worth. SNI Holding Company, stakes in Morocco's largest bank, mining, sugar, dairy. The king is, of course, a different category. Monarchy, inheritance. One country's king spends $960,000 a day. Another country's president earns $500 a month. Both are in Africa. Now let us return to this man in the barracks, Ibrahim Traore, 37 years old, the world's youngest head of state. Born in Bongo, in western Burkina Faso, a small town, a modest family. Studied geology at the University of Ouagadougou. Graduated with honors. Joined the Army in 2009. George Numawano Military Academy. Anti-aircraft training in Morocco. Infantry unit in Kaya. Lieutenant in 2014. UN peacekeeping in Mali with MINUSMA. Fought at Djibo. Sought in the 2019 Otapuanu offensives. Countless counterterrorism operations in the north. And he watched his superiors, generals sitting in air-conditioned headquarters, sending soldiers to the front lines, and watching with general indifference as they were slaughtered. Many senior officers do not understand him and have nothing but contempt for him. He pays them back well, says a military source. In September 2022, he came to power through a coup at 34 years old. And one of the first things he did was reverse the salary increase for government officials that had been approved under the previous government. He refused to raise his own salary. He stayed on soldiers' pay. "I will not take a single cent more than I earned as a soldier," he said. "Anyone who gets involved in corruption to get rich will face severe consequences." In March 2025, he declared his assets publicly. $566. And he ordered every government official, by March 24th, 2025, make your asset declaration. Those who fail will face swift prosecution. Those who make false declarations will be punished. And he banned officials from doing business with the state. No one serving in government can have commercial relationships with the government. This is not just rhetoric. This is a system. In the Bongo family, the leader was robbing the state, skimming 25% of Gabon's oil GDP for his own pocket. Obiang's son had Michael Jackson's glove. 60% of his people had no hospital. Biya spent most of the year in Switzerland, earning $620,000, visiting his own country a few days a month. Traore used to ride his motorbike at night to visit relatives. After 5 assassination attempts, he cannot even do that anymore. But he is still in the barracks. But what can be done with $128,566? His salary might be low, but he runs the country. What difference does it make? The difference is this. Where the money goes, that makes the difference. Bongo's money went to Paris, 39 properties, 183 cars. It financed the luxury districts of France. What was left in Gabon? Poverty. Obiang's money went to Malibu, to the Champs-Élysées, to a Michael Jackson collection. What was left in Equatorial Guinea? No basic services. Biya's money went to Geneva hotels. What was left in Cameroon? Crumbling infrastructure. And Traore's money? Traore, instead of raising his own salary, is building 55 hospitals, the Presidential Health Initiative, municipal medical centers, intensive care units, a cardiac institute, breast cancer diagnostic equipment. Traore, instead of moving into a presidential palace, is building the country's first gold refinery. He nationalized 5 gold mines. Sopamib, the state mining company, manages 11 sites. Traore, instead of buying luxury cars, pulled a $147 million health deal from the United States this week, February 25, 2026. Traore, instead of opening offshore accounts, got $157.5 million in new INF approval this month. The ECF 4th review completed. The RSF approved. Traore, instead of building a Ferrari collection, reduced malaria cases by 32%, reduced malaria deaths by 48%, distributed 15 million insecticide-treated bed nets, free. Traore, instead of buying a villa in Nice, declared food self-sufficiency, December 31, 2025. Traore, instead of stashing $130 million in Citibank, grew the economy by 7.2%, 7 times faster than a G7, in the middle of a war. The money is the same money, and they tried to kill him 5 times. First, September 2023, only 1 year after taking power, a coup attempt failed. Second, during 2024, details kept classified, but the government announced multiple destabilization attempts were foiled. Third, September 2024, just weeks after the Barcelona massacre, the deadliest attack with hundreds of civilians killed. Fourth, late 2024. Fifth, January 2026, the most detailed known attempt. Security Minister Mohammed VI went on state television late at night and explained, the operation was set to begin 1 hour before midnight on January 3rd. The first step was the neutralization of head of state comrade Captain Ibrahim Traore, either at point-blank range or through mining his residence. The second step was disabling the drone base. The third step was a ground military intervention by external forces. Intelligence units caught this operation in the final hours. The prime suspect, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, the former transitional president, whom Traore overthrew to take power. He lives in Togo. He plots from there. And what did the people do? A call went out on social media, and hundreds of citizens poured into the squares and intersections of Ouagadougou at midnight to defend Traore. This latest mobilization of the people to protect their leader bears witness to their determination to support the irreversible march toward the liberation of Burkina Faso from the chains of imperialism, the security minister said. 5 assassination attempts in 3.5 years, and this man is still a soldier's salary. Bongo ruled for 42 years. Nobody attempted an assassination because France was protecting him. In return, he pocketed 25% of the oil revenue. Obiang has ruled for 47 years. Nobody touched him because he serves the interests of the oil patrons. Biya has ruled for 44 years, untouchable, because he bowed to the system. Traore, 3.5 years, 5 assassination attempts, because he did not bow. He expelled France. He left ECOWAS. He nationalized the gold. And he is still in the barracks, still on $500 a month. The reason they try to kill a leader is not how rich he is, it is how dangerous he is. Bongo was not dangerous. He was France's puppet. Obiang was not dangerous. He maintained the status quo. Traore is dangerous because his model is working. And if this model spreads to other countries, the entire system collapses. And one more detail. Do not miss this. Nobody knows the name of his wife. There is no information about his children. His private life is completely closed. On social media, no selfies, no family photos, no vacation pictures. Obiang's son posts his supercar collection on Instagram. Bongo's children are permanent members of Paris high society. Museveni's son threatens countries on Twitter. Traore? Silence, privacy, only work. Millions love him, but nobody knows his wife's name. This is a choice. This is a message. I am not here for myself. I am here for the people. A Ghanaian artist, Lil Win, made a film about him, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the last African hero. Traore acknowledged the film, but he did not give a single personal detail about himself. In May 2025, Enoch Randy Akins of the Institute for Security Studies said, Traore is arguably Africa's most popular, if not favored president. The most popular, but the most mysterious. In January 2025, at Ghanaian President Mahama's inauguration, among 21 African heads of state, Traore received the loudest applause. The hall stood up, and this man went back to his barracks the next day, on soldier's pay. This week, from this barracks, what came out? February 25th, 2026, a $147 million health deal signed with the United States. The Trump administration, under its America First strategy, is sending money to Burkina, to the same military government they canceled $500 million on in 2022. February 19th, 2026, the IMF completed the 4th review of the ECF program. $33.2 million immediately dispersed. A new RSF facility approved. $124.3 million through September 2027. What did the IMF say? Program performance is satisfactory. All quantitative targets were met. The economy is resilient despite security challenges. February 19th, 2026, Health Minister Dr. Kargogo announced at the cabinet meeting, malaria cases down 32%, malaria deaths down 48%, 15 million bed nets distributed, 4.9 million children received chemo prevention. Target for 2030, eliminate malaria completely. February 26, 2026, the AES Confederation's second-year roadmap approved in Ouagadougou with the defense ministers of Mali and Niger. The Confederation is growing, strengthening. February 2026, the Army's operations to break the siege of Djibo, 50 terrorists neutralized, 2 bases destroyed simultaneously. The bottleneck in the north is widening. Supply access to besieged towns is increasing. All of this from a barracks, on $500 a month. with a net worth of $128,566. Bongo, in 42 years, accumulated 39 properties in Paris. Traore, in 1 week, secured a $147 million health deal, plus $157.5 million in IMF approval. The difference is between properties and institutions. Bongo invested in himself. Traore invests in his country. One more comparison through the lens of time. The Bongo family, in 56 years, what did they leave the Gabon? 39 properties in Paris, 1/3 of the people in poverty. Obiang, in 47 years, what did he leave Equatorial Guinea? His son's Malibu mansion, 60% of the people without basic services. Biya, in 44 years, what did he leave Cameroon? Geneva hotel bills, corruption index rank 144th. Traore, in 3.5 years, what has he built in Burkina? 7.2% growth, 55 hospitals under construction. Malaria cases down 32%, malaria deaths down 48%. Food self-sufficiency declared. First gold refinery under construction. 5 mines nationalized. $147 million health deal with the U.S. $157.5 million IMF approval. Nuclear power plant agreement with Rosatom. Budget deficit cut in half. Current account turned to surplus for the first time in 60 years. France expelled. AES Confederation founded. Headquarters decree. Companies required to build 7-story buildings. Faso textile factory reopened. KCIOB's cement plant began production. Tomato processing plant opened 3.5 years. $128,566 net worth. Soldier's salary. In a barracks. 56 years. 39 properties in Paris. 183 cars. 70 bank accounts. Which one is leadership? And this was exactly Thomas Sankara's vision. Sankara came to power in 1983 on the same soil of Burkina. He downgraded the presidential car to a Renault 5, one of the cheapest cars in Africa. He refused to install air conditioning. Most of my people do not have air conditioning, he said. He cut his salary. He made every minister declare their assets. He banned luxury. Can a head of state in Africa not be poor? Sankara asked. Poor people do not need a rich leader. Poor people need an honest leader. In 1987, he was assassinated at 37 years old. Today, 38 years later, another captain on the same soil is doing the same thing, at the same age, with the same vision, and facing the same threats. The only difference, in Sankara's time, there was no social media. Millions learned his story only after his death. Traore's story is playing out right now, live. And that is why it is so dangerous. And that is why they tried to kill him 5 times. Because a model, while it is alive, is contagious. Final word, I want to ask you a question about leadership. Is leadership a palace or a barracks? Is leadership a $620,000 salary or $500? Is leadership 39 properties in Paris or 55 hospitals? Is leadership a mansion in Malibu or 15 million mosquito nets? Is leadership 0 in 42 years or 7.2% growth in 3.5 years? You give the answer to these questions. Write in the comments. Does your country's leader live in a barracks or a palace? And how much do they earn? Send this video to friends across all of Africa. On every continent, in every country, people need to know. Leadership is a sacrifice, not a privilege. Bongo accumulated 39 properties in Paris. He left his people in poverty. Obiang bought a mansion in Malibu. He left his people without basic services. Biya accumulated Geneva hotel bills. He left his people with crumbling infrastructure. Traore lives in a barracks. He survived 5 assassination attempts. He earns a soldier's salary, and he is growing his country 7 times faster than the G7 in the middle of a war. $128,566. Barracks, 5 assassinations, 7.2% growth.